did you learn about the Elon game after seeing film that maybe you didn't realize at the time, good or bad?
I think we realized in the moment that we didn't close the game out. We had leads at 21-0, 28-10, and 35-10, and this program at its highest level puts enough space between us and the competition that we eliminate the possibility of a comeback. We never did that. And I think it was a result of us letting off the gas. That's the conversations we had as a team. Us not playing to our identity like we had against Hawaii. That was a difference. The scoreboard lies to you, so it's human nature to soften once you feel like you've built a lead. And elite teams don't do that. We got to learn to fight through that psychologically and have the mindset to finish, to close out. The other area it showed up was just in a lack of the complementary nature, kind of that integrated strategy we want, because we had a number of 3 and outs in the second half. We were short on possessions. On offense, we put our defense in tough positions in the kicking game, and then credit Elon. I mean, they made adjustments too, but in the first half where we kept them from converting a third down, they were nearly perfect in the second half, and so you had this kind of perfect storm of a defense that had ceased playing effectively on third down, on conversion downs, an offense that was going 3 and out, and a kicking game that was not putting us in great positions, and so we left the door open. And Elon came with a fighting spirit and was able to counterpunch, and their players stepped up and made plays. And so, we made the focus in response to that just our control over what we have control over, and that's our identity and playing within our identity for 4 quarters. Had we done that, I think we'd have kept ourselves from some of the situations at the end of the game. Now, we that we made it through it, and we experienced an onside kick, a 2-minute drive where they were able to get all the way to the goal line, a couple 4th down stops where we needed to step up in critical moments. Those things will benefit us long term too.
I know that you know Warren Ruggiero very well. How familiar are you with the slow mesh, and could you explain sort of in layman's terms what it is and general strategy and what to do against it?
We explained to me at layman's term. I'm just kidding. Warren and I go way back, way back to the point where when we were at Bowling Green, Warren, on the camp circuit in Ohio, was my roommate, and so Warren would wake up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning to have his coffee, and he'd have his yellow legal pad out. And I'd always, ask him what he's doing while he was drawing up plays. And it took me some time to realize, his genius in play design. So being a part of the staffs at Bowling Green and Wake Forest, I kind of learned about the style of offense, from within the team, and in those roles, it was more about, complaining about having to face it every day because you don't see anything like it out there. I've had the opportunity to defend these guys a few times too, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge in the same way that Army and Navy differentiate through the option. This is obviously, they have a different strategy. So Army and Navy is about point limitation and about ball control. Wake Forest is about explosive plays and scoring points. I think they averaged 41 points a game a year ago. I think that was 4th in the country. They won 11 games, and they've done that through, a high-powered offense. What makes it distinct is they are going to put the ball in the mesh. So, the quarterback's going to hold it in phase with the running back and actually step down into the line of scrimmage, and they'll hold that as long as possible or up until the point in which you show them where you're going to give them space. And so the minute you pull a defender in to fit the run, they're gonna attack the vacated space with a throw. That's what they do, and they do it really well. And then off that base design, what you'll see sometimes when you have fit players that are hesitant because of the tempo of the mesh, and they're holding back at the second level, what will happen is the running back's patient enough that when he does get the ball, they've popped a gap open inside, and at times, they split defenses in the run game. And so it's not that their explosive plays only come in the passing game. They can come in both. And it's this unique style of holding the ball in the mesh that gives them opportunity to do that. And they change everything that fundamentally, technically about playing offensive line or playing running back or playing quarterback. They've adapted to fit their style, and so it's an abnormal approach. And I think Warren does a great job of designing off that base scheme, and he designs explosives. So as many times as they'll want to throw the RPO, it's kind of the and go off that. So if it's a slant, it becomes a slant and go. They have a perimeter screen, it'll be a screen and go. And the quarterbacks and receivers have really good chemistry down the field, and so they're able to connect on those 50-50 balls at a high rate. And so, that's to the tune of a year ago, 41 points a game and fourth in the country in 11 wins. And so it's a real challenge. Our ability to play our style and our identity, to dictate terms on our side defensively, that's going to be a big part of this. And then winning the turnover battle too. I think that's another thing that I would just say Dave's done a great job with his teams over time is focusing on possession of the ball. And if we can turn them over, it's going to obviously position us to have success. And our ability to maintain possession on our side and extend drives and finish with touchdowns. You have to score touchdowns to beat these teams that are high scoring in this manner. And so defending this offense will occur in all three phases of our approach. And that's similar to conversations we've had in our league too, where you have high-powered offenses and you need to do the best you can to limit points so that you have a chance to win point differential.
But Clark, with that familiarity as a coach, how tough is it to get your players ready to deal with this? And is this the kind of thing that maybe you spend a little time on it in the off season, knowing that you were going to get them in week 3, or is it just try to get them up to speed this week?
I think as our program matures, we spent time in the off season as a staff. We did not as a team. I think as our program matures, we're going to be able to do things like that. For us, we can't right now lose focus on what's immediately in front of us. We're just not afforded that luxury. So, as a coaching staff, you prep and you prepare and you kind of advance scout. As a team, we've been pretty narrowly focused on what is coming next. The look is obviously similar to an option offense. The look is a challenge. We won't be perfect in that respect. And so Saturday, there's going to inevitably be some adjusting and adapting that goes on. And I think patience is a huge part. Having called plays against this offense, as a defensive coach, you can get in a mode pretty quick of any yard gained is, it's personal, and points scored is personal. But with these guys, you have to understand that every play, every time they snap the ball and they're not in the end zone, you're forcing them to tighten their opportunity for scoring points. So playing defense with patience, not feeling like a drive that goes 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, 3rd and 4 convert is a bad thing, and then looking for those opportunities to get off the field as you get them behind the chains early in a sequence, I think becomes critical. And what I'm suggesting is, what happens emotionally as you're dealing with ball possession through the course of a series, is you want to make an aggressive call. And I think there's ways to make an aggressive call that keep you within structure. There's also ways to be reckless. And I think when you're reckless with this team and with this offense, they end up in the end zone. And so it's a balance. Patience is important. and then getting a feel for the rhythm of the game and putting the guys in good positions will be critical.
With their situation at quarterback, do you prepare for Sam Hartman this week, or how do you approach that situation?
Just from what I've known, and again, they'll change subtly in personality depending on who the quarterback is, but this is a system. And the thing that, if you look, when I was there, it was John Wofford. You've had a number of guys. Obviously, Hartman's done well. It seems like anyone that they put back at quarterback has found success and rhythm in the system. And so, to me, this is a focus on defending the system. Obviously, I'd love to see Sam play. I know, I'm pulling for him as he's battling through, his injury, and but in the end, for us, whoever that trigger man is, we have to be ready to defend the system, and that's going to be the most stressful part of our performance on defense on Saturday.
Does anything change for you in terms of your offensive attack going up against such a high-powered offense like Wade?
Well, we don't, we want to play to our identity, and our identity has been, kind of, first of all, establishing a run game, and I think that can help you in this situation. We have to maintain possession of the ball, game control. If you look at defending an offense that scores 41 points a game, you're looking at, the longer that offense is on the sideline, the fewer opportunities they have to score. And so, again, game control drives are important. And then, like I said, finishing drives with 7 points is also important. And that may sound, obvious, but you don't want to go 7-3 on drives. We want to get all 7. And so, the ability to sustain drives, like the 3 and outs we experienced on Saturday against Elon, just put unneeded exposure on our defense to sustain drives and then finish with touchdowns. That's going to be the goal. The more effectively we do that, the more competitive this game is going to be, and the more exciting it's going to be late.
Do you sense that this is a pretty big game for the program in terms of an opportunity to sort of showcase progress both locally and nationally?
Well, certainly we welcome the opportunity to play in this game, and I think with, again, Wake Forest being that they've become the standard bearer, having won 11 games and really established longevity and sustained success, and that's what we're after here. This is a great opportunity for us to go against, the program that's kind of set the standard here recently with respect to balancing, being at a great academic school and playing high-level college football. For us, we're still so young as a program, and I think the first 2 games are indicative of this, right? Like we play against Hawaii, and we play 4 quarters of what we've determined to be our style, our brand of football, and we leave the field feeling great. We play Elon, and we find inconsistency in that performance, and you don't leave the field feeling great. You're happy that we won, but you're not feeling like that we're measuring up to be the program that we set out to be. So we're learning about this team here early, and so to make a statement around this being a big game, or this is another chance for us to build into the foundation that we've started here. And really focus on our performance, our identity, and how we play. And in doing that over time, we'll be in position to maximize the opportunities that we're presented with. I just, I feel like, Robbie, that we're, still so young into that identity that it's less about the moment for us and more about our process, our becoming, the things that we need to do, our routines. That are going to pull forth the best and more consistent performance, on Saturday. And so if we do that, obviously, we put ourselves in position to have a chance for a result. If we don't, then obviously we've also shown that, we have the ability to give opportunity to our opponent too. And both the first game and the second game revealed that.
Clark, there was a graphic that several of your support staffers posted 10 true freshmen have combined for 361 snaps in Vanderbilt's 2-0 start. I'm curious, is that about the level of both playing time and production that you were expecting from the true freshmen, when you brought in the recruiting class, and what kind of, are you expecting going forward when it comes to both playing time and development of those players?
Well, we recruited this class to come in and have an impact. So the expectation was that they were going to be, positioned to do that. They had to earn it, and they have. And I would expect that, the trend would be for that number to creep up relative to the games we play, because as you see guys get comfortable, as they learn. I mean, still like a true freshman who's got a very specific role right now. Needs time to learn and to grow comfortable in a system so that they can carve out a bigger role. And as they do that, which we expect to happen, you're going to see that snap count go up. So that's all part of the design, right? We have a young team that we feel like is we have a number of young playmakers within this program, and we're going to give them opportunities to perform. Anytime that you're playing a lot of young players, you're also exposed to the errors that young players can make, and so the more we acclimate them to our systems, the better we do as a coaching staff to get them prepared. The more you're going to see them, rise to that level of performance that is going to impact winning.
And then when it comes to some of the players that were out this past week, Quincy Skinner, Rocco Griffin, Julian Hernandez, Jake Ketchik, do you expect those guys to be back?
Julian is day to day, and we're going to keep an eye on his progress. He's questionable for the game. Rocco has been improving in practice today, and so as he continues improvement, I would expect him to be available. Quincy Skinner is improving and was able to do more today, and I would expect him to be available to a certain capacity. We'll see how the week goes to determine. Jake Ketchik is going to be week to week. He won't be available this week, but I'm hoping that we can get the other three back, and things seem to be trending that direction.
Arrington Truesdell, and then Patrick Smith, Trudell Berry.
Patrick Smith and Trudell Berry won't be available this week. Arrington Truesdell is improving, and I would say questionable for the game, but I felt like we were able to get more out of him today, and so heading in the right direction.
What's your challenge to Mike this week, Clark, given what he did last week, and maybe relative to the consistency standpoint?
Yeah, Mike's a great playmaker, and so, he, as he goes, our offense goes, and so he's got the burden of responsibility there to have consistency in his performance. I think like a more nuanced challenge to him would be just exerting control over, getting us into good plays and strengthening the unit in that respect, making good decisions. And he's done that. It's just, I thought in the Elon game there, at times, we had opportunities to get into plays that might have given us a better opportunity on the perimeter, or changing the direction of play can help keep the ball out of the teeth of the defense. And as he gets comfortable in this role as starter, I think you're going to see his ability to make those adjustments in the moment, and it's going to facilitate performance in all 11 positions. Certainly when the ball's in his hands, good things tend to happen for us. And so the other part of it is, when you look at great players, it's the impact they have over the game when the ball's not in their hands. And so for him to understand that teams are going to be kind of, honing in on him and focusing on him in their prep. And so, both in getting us into good plays, but also in carrying out fakes and understanding the stress that he causes in terms of his ability to run the ball, maximizing opportunities to put stress on the defense to unlock space for other players will be another part of that challenge too.
You played, I think, 36 guys on offense and defense. I know your hands are tied with injuries and absences and such. Do you go back and say we should have played more guys, or would we play it the same way again?
No, more guys, and more guys have earned the right to play. That's a criticism that I spoke to after the game with our team and our staff. We can't, as we build this program, we need to create buy-in at all levels. And when we have guys that are practicing at a certain level and earning the right to play, we need to get them out there. Now that could be for 5 plays, that could be for 15, that could be for 30, but the ability to play more people is going to strengthen our program. And so I think we were probably another score away in those moments that I mentioned, 21-0, 28-10, 35-10, from having the ability by scoreboard to do that. But even while the game's competitive, and as the game's competitive, more guys have earned the right to play. We need to do a better job getting them in the game.
Do you think Issa Mataha can give you something this week?
We're gonna find out, and obviously we feel like it's a big-bodied athlete that has the ability to be disruptive just based off his frame. And so, we want to give him a chance to show his abilities. And so we're going to take a look at him this week in practice, see how he does. If he's ready by Saturday, then he can be out there helping us. And I think, too, Chris, to your question, when you play against a high-tempo team like Wake Forest, your rotations and your substitutions become really important, because no different than what we experienced Saturday, which wasn't a high-tempo operation, but, the aggregate of all the snaps you take in the first 3 quarters add up in the fourth quarter too. So some of our inability to get off the field on third down had to do with the fact that we were playing frontline guys and they were worn out. And in the end, when you're going 3 and out and shorter possessions on offense, in order to stay fresh over the course of a 4-quarter game, the more guys you play, the more chance you have to be fresh at the end.
I didn't see Davon Walker and Kamari Carter out there. Are they part of the team? What's their status?
Yeah, they are, and they're with us. They're not available this week, but both guys are with us and helping, and I'll be excited for them to get back.
Anything else? Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.